Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Saturday's edition of the DCEU Daily. Now, let me just give you a warning. I'm suffering with a bad flu. No, it's not COVID. I shoved that thing so far up my nose, I took out the remainder of my brain. There wasn't a great deal of my brain left, so that's come out as well. So I ain't got COVID, but if I start coughing or sneezing, please bear with me, because I like to do these videos daily. I like to connect with you, the geeks and nerds out there, because it's such a great time to be a DC fan, whether you're a Snyder fan, whether you're a fan of the DCEU itself, or Matt Reeves' Earth 2. We are going to talk about Matt Reeves, the Batman, because the great man himself had this to say on Twitter yesterday. Hey, the Batman is on the cover of new issue of Total Film. Check out the exclusive subscribers cover and the newsstand cover, which hit shelves on Thursday. The Batman is only in theatres on March the 4th, of course. So there's two covers here. So here's the first one. Absolutely brilliant, by the way. And we're really going to get into this. I mean, I'd like this to be an official poster, and the other one, by the way. I don't know if the other one is an official poster. I don't know. Maybe get in the comments down below. But this is great. So let's have a little bit of a close-up and see what they've got here. So we have got Selina Kyle. We've got the Batman above everyone, of course, which is right. We've got Alfred. We've got the Riddler. We've got Jim Gordon. We've got Oswald Cobblepot. So there's some really good things here. And Robert Pattinson as the Batman looks off the scale, doesn't he? The more I see this costume, the more I like it. I wasn't sure about it at first because it's different, but it's so good. And I just want to do a close-up on the Batman insignia, because this is such a cool idea to actually, you know, cut the gun that killed his parents in two and use it as the Batman insignia is actually genius from Mr. Matt Reeves, who is a genius anyway. Now here's the second cover. And this is even better. Look at that. How cool is this? Again, I'm going to zoom in on this and take a look at it. I like the way they do the eyes there, the close-up at, you know, the glasses and the eyes there. Batman, of course, looks awesome. And then you've got kind of the supporting characters, Selina Kyle, Oswald Cobblepot, Alfred, Jim Gordon. And I love the dark red of this one as well. So absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to grab Total Film. It's the subscribers cover, and I think it's the magazine cover, whatever they call it. So go out and get that. I'm sure most of you geeks and nerds already subscribe to Total Film and Empire. So it's a very, very, very exciting time. I would absolutely love the opportunity to interview Matt Reeves right now. I'm sure every fan would. But what would I ask him? Well, it wouldn't be necessarily about the film. You know, I'm a bit obsessed about him being given a whole DC universe, a whole Earth 2. And what I'd like to know from Matt Reeves, and this is what I think, and this is what I feel anyway, that what he's doing goes beyond Batman, that he's going to flesh out and develop this Earth with other DC characters in it as well, which I think is the most exciting thing about what Matt is attempting to do. And I'd love a discussion with Matt about that. You know, has he plans to flesh out this Earth? And, you know, listen, I've seen the film. There's elements of the film I can't talk about, but within the film you can tell there is something beyond Batman going on here, which is really, really exciting. Because with all the talk of Batman not, you know, some people saying Batman shouldn't be part of the Justice League, and it doesn't work. People are only saying that because Matt said he didn't want to deal with a Batman who's part of the Justice League. But ultimately, I kind of feel that Matt will set this stuff up within his own Earth too, and I just think he didn't. The reason he rejected Ben Affleck's script is not because he didn't like it or didn't like the idea of Batman as part of a Justice League or having the extended universe involved. The way he describes that script and that film, I'm so sad we're never going to get to see it, and Ben said he's done, so we're not going to see it, which is a great tragedy for me. But I do feel what Matt was alluding to was that this is not my vision. I want my own vision. So I think that Matt eventually will set up his own Justice League with a Batman and a Superman and a Wonder Woman and other characters as part of that. And maybe one day in the future there'll be crossovers with the DC Extended Universe and Matt Reeves' Earth 2. Now that's a long way down the road, but I am very interested in Matt's plans for the future. Now he's talked about having considerable plans for spin-offs and more Batman movies, which is very, very exciting. But when you're given an entire DC universe to mould and flesh out, and you're given the clay to do whatever you want, that's exciting for us geeks and nerds, isn't it? And to kind of wonder what his plans are. As I keep on saying, you know, us DC fans are going to eat well this year, and I don't want to see people putting Matt Reeves, the Batman movie, against Snyder's movies. These are two very good friends, by the way. Matt, one of the few, if only the only kind of elite director who congratulated Zack Snyder on the Snyder Cut. So there's no, we're all part of the DC family. There's no rivalry here. The Batman doesn't, if the Batman didn't exist, Ben Affleck's Batman film wouldn't suddenly be happening. We wouldn't be restoring the Snyderverse. What happened with Snyder happened with Snyder. And there's reasons, and there's right and wrong on both sides in terms of the studio and Snyder himself. And we've catalogued that situation. So this rivalry, you know, in one franchise, it is pointless, really. It's just an exciting time. I can't wait for all of you to see the Batman. And I think you're going to be very, very pleased with the type of film it is. I mean, you have never, ever seen anything like this in all of your lives. And yes, there's going to be so much to talk about. One of the frustrating things of having seen the movie is that we can't discuss it right now. And we've got, just over a month to go till we can discuss it. And I can't wait to do the spoiler review on this very channel about this film, because there's going to be a lot to unpackage. Just under 3 hours of Matt Reeves' The Batman delight and graciousness and epicness. It really is a huge film, and it's also a small film. But as usual, the fake propaganda merchants have started. This time, accusing The Batman of being a cheap film because it didn't cost over 200 million in budget. Now, think about a Batman film. A Batman film doesn't actually need a huge budget. Think about it, right? It doesn't need lots of CGI. You know, I don't want to go into that myself because that's spoilers, obviously, but it doesn't, he doesn't fly out to space. He's not fighting Steppenwolf. So they gave Matt the money that he wanted. In fact, Matt's been given everything by WB he wanted. And so if you can make a film like this on a budget, because this film could clear 2 billion after all's said and done, this is going to be a huge money-making maneuver for Warner Brothers and DC. Let's not forget that. So the more these propaganda kind of cultists keep on going on, the more stupid they look. No one cut Matt Reeves' budget here. He was given everything he wanted, should I say. And what I would say is, having had the privilege of seeing this film, I can tell you it does not look cheap. This is not a Superman 4 Quest for Peace. This is a huge film. He was given as much money as he needed and he wanted, and there are no issues again. So the fake propaganda merchants lose again, and the real genuine DC fans can get excited because this is a huge year for DC fans. Next, I want to talk about the top secret Peacemaker finale that James Gunn won't even allow the press to see before we've seen it. Regrettably, I still haven't seen James Gunn's Peacemaker, which is a big regret for me. It's not available where I am, and I'm waiting with bated breath to see this. But the stuff that people have told me about it, my friends, people in the geek community, you people have told me it's fucking awesome. And one of the things people love about this show is this new character, this new version of Vigilante. So I can't wait to see him and his interaction with John Cena, aka Peacemaker. But to my very surprise, James Gunn said on social media that his finale of this first series of Peacemaker is top secret, and he's not allowing anyone to see it until the consumer has on HBO Max. I congratulate James for this decision, putting his consumer and his fans and DC fans first. I don't like the fact that people get to see films before everybody else. Even though I'm happy I've seen the Batman, I don't think it's fair that I've seen it and you haven't, just because I crossed some I's and dotted some T's, or I kind of got a mate to get me in there or something like that. It's not very fair. I don't like it, and I think we should all kind of see these things together. Then you're going to say, Mick, what about reviews? I think we live in a situation now where we have to think about critics and media. Do they deserve the privilege of seeing something before us? And I'm so happy that James Gunn realises that they're not more important than us. And when you listen to a lot of these critics and entertainment journalists talk, they do talk about toxic fandoms a lot, and they don't really like us, and they do think this industry can survive without its customer. And of course, the only reason they're in jobs is because of us. Without us, there is no industry. There isn't any kind of consumer industry without us, the public. Let's not forget that. But I do congratulate James Gunn for doing this. So why has he done this? Well, basically, it's a huge episode and he doesn't want it spoiled. I think there are a lot of... I think what he's doing in this series is part of what Walter Hamada and he have worked on as the kind of next, the next arc of the DCEU after Flashpoint. I still believe that Peacemaker is set after Flashpoint. I actually think that Black Adam and definitely Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, that comes after the Flash movie anyway, but I do feel these projects coming before the Flash movie are actually set after Flash. I think Peacemaker is set after the Flash movie, and I also feel that Black Adam is set after the Flash movie as well. I think there's a reason for this, because this year was always going to be that, moving on from what we saw in the inception of the DCEU and looking at this reboot. So I think this is why Season 8 is huge. It's huge for what Gunn is doing within his own Suicide Squad universe for DC, but this is not self-contained. We have seen a lot of things, or you people who have seen this series, the first 5 episodes, have seen a lot of things thus far, kind of connections to the extended DC Extended Universe, like things like Black Adam's home being mentioned in a newspaper article, or silly things like, you know, John Cena's Peacemaker mocking Black Matt. Say that again. Get my words out properly. Batman. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't know what happened there. Yeah. So you've heard John Cena's Peacemaker say a lot of kind of, you know, weird, jokey things about Batman, Superman, Aquaman fucking fish. It may sound a bit silly, but this is James' version. This is James' way of including the extended universe. It's not about mocking Batman or Superman. And this is what James Gunn does, and this is what's so good about James Gunn. That's him saying we are part of this extended universe, and I think that's really exciting. And I think this butterfly situation, these aliens, I don't know nothing about this butterfly storyline, but it is interesting, and that could be part of the next arc of the DCEU. There could even be a mention of the missing pieces of this franchise that don't seem to exist after Flashpoint, part of this big reboot. So yeah, look out for that. Look out for that finale if you're following the show, if you're fortunate enough to actually have access to Peacemaker, and we'll discuss it after it airs, because I think it's very, very interesting. There must be a genuine reason James Gunn doesn't want anyone to see it before the fans see it on HBO Max. So that's very, very exciting for a huge year for DC fans. So a lot of Arrowverse fans are hearing whispers about Grant Gustin signing a brand new contract to play the Flash in Arrowverse, and that's kind of getting them to add 2 and 2 and come up with 6. Them assuming there's going to be a season 9 of The Flash. Of course, there could be a season 9 of The Flash. The way that Eric Wallace has spoken, it looks like that's what they want to do. But I can exclusively tell you today that the contract that Grant Gustin has indeed signed is not just to do with Arrowverse and more Flash series. He has signed an expanded DC contract where he can play the Flash anywhere, at any time. In terms of Doom Patrol, the DC Extended Universe, anywhere. He can turn up anywhere. Now, we were talking about the Flash test screening yesterday, and I think if you're a fan like me of Grant Gustin's The Flash, you are going to cry happy tears when you see his appearance in the Flash movie, which goes beyond a cameo. Very, very exciting for fans, and he's signed this contract, so he could even get his own movie within the DC Extended Universe, because we know partly what Walter Hamada and Andy Muschietti have said, that this makes the DC multiverse an entire franchise in the DC Extended Universe, and that's very, very exciting. So, finally today, we're going to talk about the graphic novel Superman 78, and this is actually a bit of neat news if you're interested in this graphic novel. The Goonies officially exist in Superman's Donner movie universe. As Superman 78 has expanded Donner's films in the form of comics, the world in which the series is set has become inclusive of other movies. It turns out that the Goonies exist in Richard Donner's Superman movie universe, starring Christopher Reeve as the Man of Steel. As Superman 78 has expanded Donner's films in the form of comics, the world in which the series is set has become inclusive of other movies, such as The Goonies and Tim Burton's Batman, which is very, very exciting. Superman 78 has brought fans back to Reeves' take on Clark Kent, with the limited series acting as a new installment in the franchise. As the hero faces Brainiac, writer Robert Venditti and artist Wilfredo Torres have proven that there was potential for a great sequel following Superman 2. The series has alluded to the existence of Batman, with Bruce Wayne's origin story taking place during the storyline, with hints to the existence of Burton's Gotham. Superman 78 has made a world's finest crossover between the first two superhero movie franchises possible. The limited series has also opened the door to a crossover featuring another Donner film. In Superman 78, issue 6, the Man of Steel defends Metropolis while there is havoc in the streets. Amid the chaos, the Goonies watch as Superman soars past them. Mickey, Datamouth, and Chunk Striker a similar pose from the film as Data exclaims, "Bad day for a field trip." Guys, the cameo is a fun nod to Richard Donner's classic movie following the success of Superman in The Goonies. There was a playful reference to Superman, but it didn't seem to indicate that the film took place in the same universe. Now they are forever linked to one world, which Donner likely did not have in mind at the time, but something tells me that Dick Donner would have been very proud and excited about this development. The two franchises share some of the same DNA, as Donner brought his signature style to both stories. The overlapping tones make it easy to buy that the Goonies might also be home to Superman. In character for the boys, they decided to go on a trip to Metropolis at the wrong time, as a supervillain was in the process of causing terror. As the final issue ties up the series, it's just the right time for the kids to make a surprise appearance. The Goonies' trip to the big city offers new context for their adventure, as Sloth wore a Superman shirt homaging the hero. Now, it seems like he was paying tribute to an actual person in his world instead of just a comic book. Venditti and Torres' tribute to Donner's legacy beyond his Superman films is a fitting way to bring the limited series continuation to an end. Something tells me we could get more. I've spoken about the Superman 78 graphic novel before. If you read it, you'll like it and you'll think, wow, it continues from, you know, Superman 2, as does Superman Returns. And I suggested this at the time when I was out in Cyprus on a video on my Porsche, if you remember, but you probably don't. But what I was saying is Brandon Routh is now Superman 78. He is Christopher Reeve's Superman. Why not adapt this and give it to Brandon Routh and a director who can really do something special? There are a lot of fans of Superman 78. And before some of you people start on me, I'm not saying replace this with any other version of Superman. I don't want Tanahashi Coates' Superman to be replaced. I don't want Michael B. Jordan's developing Superman HBO Max show to be replaced. I don't want Henry Cavill to be replaced for this. I'm saying we're within the multiverse now. Everyone likes Brandon Routh. Michael Keaton is now going to be a member of the DC Extended Universe. His Batman and Bruce Wayne will be anyway. So why not bring this guy in? He and Michael Keaton would make a great team, and you could do so many great things. You could do a World Finest crossover, and you could actually adapt this comic book, because this comic book has been so successful. But what do you think? Would you like Brandon Routh to be in an adaptation of Superman 78 continuing after Superman 2 and seeing Brandon fight Brainiac and foes like this? Now, in Bryan Singer's Superman Returns sequel, Superman was going to go up against Brainiac. So why not do this anyway? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. Until then, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. See you again tomorrow. Bye for now.